Good evening, CAN TV viewers. Thank you for tuning in to the Doty Report on Comprehensive Health. My name is Yolanda Givens, and I am the host. And we are here every Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. now through the end of June. I think this is our third season being here at CAN TV, bringing you healthcare information, resources, just chatting about the importance of healthcare, talking about the importance of health advocacy, and just really being able to get information out to the community about the importance of health and some of the resources that are often we don't know that are available. I am so excited tonight to have two special guests, two very wise gentlemen sitting to my right. Yep, my right. And tonight we're going to be talking about the Georgia Doty organization, the organization that created this platform and that's very excited about being here on CAN TV. And we're going to talk about the organization, a tidbit about the history. We're going to talk about the importance of such organizations, and we are going to talk about the mission and goals, some of the things that the organization will be doing this year in the year of 2019. So I am excited. Again, as you know, if you watch often, we encourage you to call in with your questions, comments. We want to engage. We want to hear from you, and we thank you for tuning in. So I am going to get started by introducing the guest for tonight, this nice gentleman here in this red hat and his red sweater is Mr. Don Doty himself. He is the founder and the CEO of the Georgia Doty organization. He is a veteran, so we definitely salute him. And he has been in this business this service, not business, in the service of being an advocate for bridging the gap for health disparities in the community for a very, very long time. And he comes from a history, a whole legacy of family members that kind of paved the way for him. So we're excited to have him and to hear from him. And next to him is this fine gentleman in his blazer, Mr. Jack, and Jack is actually the chairman of the Georgia Doty organization, as well as he is the owner of Right Healthcare Ventures, and he has 40 years in this area of healthcare. So we have two very knowledgeable folks that we're going to be chatting with, and we're just going to talk about the organization. We're just going to talk about any and everything related to the importance of healthcare, that the community knows what resources are available. And in these days and times, we know that our health and wellness is very, very important, and it starts with inside in the home and kind of spills over out into the community. So I would love for you, Mr. Doty. The Georgia Doty organization was named after your mom.
Yes.
That's correct. And she did some wonderful, amazing things in the healthcare profession, and really just had an impact. And so some of what you do came from her.
Yes.
Yes. So, but the Georgia Doty itself, how long has the Georgia Doty organization been around?
Here in Chicago for the last, say, 24 years.
Okay. Okay. And what have you guys been doing in those 24 years?
Oh, well, we were first a foundation. We were a foundation for the first 4 or 5 years. And we're giving out scholarships to minorities to enter into the allied health field.
Oh, nice.
And
okay.
then we went into HIV and hepatitis community outreach. Hepatitis, because of the air gun in Vietnam that caused me to have hepatitis, became an issue and a mission for me. But we deal with health disparity across the board, especially in the minority community.
Right, which is so important. And you've been doing this quite a while.
Quite a while. I made a commitment, a promise to extend her legacy to Chicago. And Harold Washington and W. Clement Stone invited me to come here to duplicate the school.
Okay.
And her school, that she was the first African American to operate a welfare to work post-secondary allied health training school. Trying to educate minorities not only to get off on welfare, but also to look into the health field beyond just being a LVN,
Yeah.
a caretaker, those areas, and they were limiting themselves into knowing and having knowledge of how extensive the allied health field really is.
Right, and that's important across the board because we tend to only know about certain career options.
Right.
You know, so to have that opportunity for them to learn that there's more than just, you know, like if I can't be a registered nurse and I can be a CNA, but there's so many other
In between,
areas
yes.
that they could choose and be trained
Correct.
and be successful in,
Yes.
which we know plays a role in health, in their health as well. Okay, so Mr. Jack, so you have been in the healthcare, this profession for many years.
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about you being the chairperson for the Georgia Doty organization, and just about, you know, your experience in this area as well, and why this is even important to you?
Well, I've been involved with the healthcare world and the senior population in the clinics, hospitals, nursing homes, assisted living, home health care, all over the place. And I found one thing that's very, very important today too, is a lot of people are totally confused. Mm-hmm. And trying to put together any kind of commitment to help them find their way and get to the right place, to the right people, and with the right services. Not that it's just right healthcare, but those are very important things.
Right.
Because nobody knows what to do,
Right.
frankly. It's just a confusing realm. To Don's point about getting people into the careers, that's a huge problem today. Mm-hmm. Caregivers are such a huge shortage that a lot of the home health, home care, nursing homes, etc., they can't find the RNs, the LCNs, the CNAs, and even the caregivers to go into homes because that population is growing so big.
Oh, wow.
So there's a lot of missions here, if we can help in that respect, going way back to what Georgia did back in the day, to now going into the areas of the underserved population that truly don't, if they didn't have insurance, if they didn't have a doctor, they didn't have a connection, they really don't get taken care of.
Right.
And when we look at all the disease states that we're trying to help,
Right.
it's all about the knowledge, the education, and then trying to put together the network to get them with quality, good providers to make sure that it gets taken care of.
Right. Yeah. Healthcare is it's a challenge. Even just the basic trying to sign up for health insurance. If you don't understand the language, oftentimes you don't understand even what you're signing up for. I know that now sometimes you have to pick a certain network and you're not even realizing. And I've had that experience with my son who has narcolepsy, so he has to often see a doctor, but any change just changes the whole situation, and he finds himself having to start that process all over again.
Yep.
I've had to pay out of my pocket over $1,000 for several months just for him to receive the medication that he needed.
Yep.
Because the insurance, that's a whole nother, we could talk about that.
Yeah.
For that could be a topic in itself, So, Mr. Doty, why is your organization so important? And either one of you could talk about, because I know the target, even though the organization is really about creating healthier communities across the board, but there's a passion for the seniors and the veterans.
Yes.
So talk a little bit, maybe you could talk a little bit about the passion for the veterans and why, and maybe you can touch upon a little bit more about the seniors.
Well, I find that a lot of the veterans are limited in terms of holistic education.
Mm-hmm.
At the VA, they ton you with pills. Mm-hmm. But there's a lack of education to sometimes overcome certain health issues by your diet, by your exercise. And there's other holistic approaches.
Okay.
And we're trying to educate them on a combination of both, but kind of wean them off always depending on the pill. And especially those veterans at the VA that are on opioids and they're taking really hard painkillers. It's difficult when they have a bad health issue themselves and they have liver disease, and a lot of them have liver cirrhosis because a lot of them have alcohol is a big issue there in terms of the veteran population right now, especially those that are unemployed and those that are the homeless population. So it's difficult for them to take certain drugs consistently at the VA, and so we're trying to educate them to live healthier and live better.
Okay, okay. Definitely, we want to make sure those folks who have kept us free and served our country you would think that they would be receiving the best of the best care.
Yeah, there's a lot of mental health issues related to those, that a lot of them that are, not all, but a percentage that are basically homeless. And it's hard to get them to come into the system, how to come in to get housing and qualify for some of the things that are really available to them. And that's one of our goals, is to try to aim one tent, one person, one veteran at a time, and educate them to what services may be available and try to reconnect them together.
I like that. I like that. So what about the seniors?
Well, it's a lot of overlap, frankly, because we're looking at the same thing, whether they're educated when they were kids, they got older, and now they're grandparents or so, and they still don't have the education on nutrition, on the exercise, on the doctors, on the clinics, where to go for what. And so we're trying to put together that network and have a bunch of quality providers again that are behind this to be able to help and do the outreach so we can get them connected.
Right.
Secondly is the behavioral health, the mental health, all that stuff has become such a huge monster problem in every category.
Right.
The military, the veterans have a whole different reason potentially why or where they got this PTSD, all these kinds of things. From being in the neighborhoods now with bullying and all kinds of other things. You got kids, you've got adults, and we see all the nasty things that happen out there. But there aren't the resources to necessarily help them and get them to the point where we can hopefully change some of those behaviors.
Right.
Because as you said earlier, and I said it to you when we were discussing earlier with the nutrition, everything starts from the inside out. If the inside is polluted, guess what's going to happen outside? And we have the ability, and we have the people out there to be able to service them, but gathering them together and getting them into that pool so that we can make this happen, that's the number one thing I think that the Doty group is trying to do.
Absolutely. The Georgia Doty organization is definitely a great resource for those connections, and kind of bridging that gap, and connecting the people to the right people.
Yes.
Right? So what are some of the things that's coming up for the Georgia Doty organization, and some of the roles that you're playing in the community in the present? What's the future?
Well, right now, we're planning for our male-female veteran stand-up forum.
Okay.
It'll be at the Kroc Center on August the 1st.
Right.
And we have the director of the director of the Jesse Brown Hospital, VA Hospital, to be our guest speaker, to come in and talk and kind of share resources and things of their future and what they're trying to do. We have also a fundraising charity coming up. It's more musical, well, it's kind of honoring musical icons here in the Chicago area. Jerry Butler is one, Gene Chandler, the Stylistics, the Shy Lights, and trying to attract a larger group of people and use music and entertainment to reach the masses. Reaching 30 or 40 or 50 at a time, that's great. But if we can put on programs where I can reach 400 or 500, 1,000 in one group, at one time, I think that entertainment is the best draw outside of opportunities for employment.
Right.
So those are the things we're kind of focusing on for this year. We're also looking at doing a domestic violence summit,
Okay.
which we had one some years ago. And that's kind of really dealing with a lot of mental health issues and a lot of traditions of people being brought up thinking certain kinds of ways in terms of how they treat their women, how they treat their family. And so we're trying to break that cycle and trying to educate them more in terms of sensitivity and education.
Okay. So August 1st, on August 1st, at the Salvation Army Kroc Center, located, I don't know the exact address, but like 119th in Ashland, from 10 to 2. The 10 to 2. It is a health forum targeting veterans and seniors.
Mostly basically
Mostly veterans?
And
Okay.
senior veterans also, yes.
Okay. And
But anybody's welcome.
yeah, open to everyone. So I was just going to ask, so people out there would know what's going to be there. Like, what is that going to look like? What should people expect? What kind of information is going to be?
Well, we have Congressman Davis, Kerry Austin, Alderman Kerry Austin in that area. They're going to speak about some of the resources and things that they have planned in the future for those basic areas. We have the top people from Washington coming down from the VA. Hopefully, Mr. Stephen Dilliard, Director of Minority Affairs for the VA. to be a guest speaker and kind of share what's happening now in terms of legislation and things that a lot of the veterans are concerned about. A lot of the areas of housing and compensation also. So we hope that we can share they can share some of this information to the veterans on a higher level.
Okay.
And we hope that we get the attention of the governor and the mayor also to attend. So show that they're all supportive of trying to make a difference in finding out what to do with these individuals that are living in tents in the cold, and I mean, they served our country and they deserve a little better than that.
Right. So will there be any like health screenings or?
Yeah, we're gonna do health screening, referrals. We have employers, we have trade schools, we have mental health physicians there from the VA. They're gonna be there to provide the services that they may require. And the majority is gonna be looking at possibly housing.
Housing.
Yes.
So housing. So again, that's August 1st, 2019 at the Salvation Army Kroc Center from 10 to 2. It is going to be a forum targeting veterans, seniors, but definitely open to anyone. There's going to be some health screenings happening, some resource information being shared, and really some key players that could make some differences, right? Make some differences, if that's a word. Definitely make a difference. And the services that are being provided to not just the veterans and seniors, but to everyone. So Jack, you being the chairperson of the Georgia Doty organization, what do you see a future or a key role of this organization?
Well, number one is going to be putting these programs together.
Right. Okay.
So now it's going to be to get the programs in the community to do this education, to get the people understanding more, reaching out so that we can help them and guide them, and not necessarily personally, but get the professionals involved so that they can get these services that they deserve or they can have access to.
Right.
A lot of them don't have any idea of where to go, what to do. Spoke a little earlier about some of the health care, the Affordable Care Act.
Right. I was going to ask
And
about that.
all of the services available, and the part that most people, when I speak to them, don't have any clue about is all the preventive services. There's over 30-some preventive services that the beauty of it is it's no copay, no deductible. You can go and get all these things, and many of these are the huge diseases. It's the mammogram, it's a colonoscopy, it's diabetes, it's mental health, smoking cessation. I mean, all these things that cause cancer, cause diabetes, cause other issues, cardiac, etc. If we can get this stuff out there to people, we can make a huge impact. And I said diabetes for one reason. I did a lot of stuff with Congressman Danny Davis and his Senior Elder Care Advisory Committee. I was the chairman. And we go out there, and the incidence of diabetes in those neighborhoods is 3 times what it is in other neighborhoods. And when you look at the statistics, and I just happened to look it up today, that we spend in the country about $325 billion treating diabetes. So with education, with outreach, with the help, if we could just cut 10%, a little impact, it's over $30 billion that we save this country. Always talk about money, we always talk about that in the political world, but think of what you're doing for those people, for their families, and how you're impacting the communities.
Right.
And that's really how it comes around. So if we can put these programs in the different communities, get the partners to come in to help take care of all these people,
Right.
we can make a huge impact in a very, very short time.
Right. I know there are many healthcare providers, clinics, and networks that they do make effort to do outreach, but I think an organization like Georgia Doty is just key. You know, could definitely be a key partner to those healthcare clinics and centers as really being, because Georgia Doty can do a groundwork,
Right.
you know, that they just aren't able to reach. So for those healthcare providers that really want to reach the community and just want to connect better with the community and be able to share some of their resources and information, the Georgia Doty organization is definitely one to partner with.
Yes.
To definitely partner with. So what have been some of your highlights for the organization? What would you say?
Well, we are now in the process of expanding to 3 other states.
Okay.
Atlanta, LA, and Las Vegas. There's a high rate of HIV in the Atlanta area. And they've asked us to come down, and CDC was willing to assist us financially in setting up and expanding. So we have an advisory committee waiting for us to file the papers to go to Atlanta. LA has a large unemployment rate. They have a whole tent city downtown Los Angeles.
Yes,
It's
they do.
unbelievable. And so they're really willing for us to come back, because I'm from Los Angeles, come back home and reconnect with the political forces there to make a difference, to see how we can provide assistance in housing for some of the veterans there that are unemployed and basically homeless in Los Angeles. And in Vegas, the unemployment rate is very high, and they also have a tent city. You look at Vegas as a casinos and the lights, and you don't think that off the
Strip.
the strip, there's a totally embarrassing unemployment rate and a lot of veterans there. So those are the three passions that I have that I hope I can build and to leave as a legacy, as Georgia left to me, that I can leave to others.
Right. So important. And even with the Affordable Care Act, where in most people's mind it was okay, everybody have access to insurance, but as you said, people still aren't going to the doctor. Is that what do you think? That's what's happening? Do you think is there a large number of people who just haven't signed up and just what do you think is happening?
Well, there was a pretty decent sign-up period. And a lot of people signed up, but again, do they know what's wrong, what to do, where to go? A lot of people avoid healthcare.
Yes.
They don't want to go, and they don't want to get this help, or
Yeah.
they're scared, or they're not sure, or they're all these excuses get in the way. And that's what, if we can do the education to make it hopefully an easier transition, that's number one.
Right.
And then a lot of them don't have a doctor, so they never had a doctor, so they don't know who to go to in the first place.
Right.
As discussed earlier, where do they all go? Is they go to the emergency room.
Right.
A little kid has a sneeze or a cough or whatever, and that's
Right.
where they end up, which costs a fortune.
Yes.
And we're trying, and people that have serious injuries belong in the emergency room.
Absolutely.
And it's overcrowded, there's all those issues. So trying to get everybody into the appropriate settings, we can get them, to make that big impact and get them not be scared, but be, educated, this is what this is, let me go and call and know where to go and who they can trust.
Right.
It's another big thing in healthcare is trusting the right people.
Absolutely.
Because there is lots of fraud out there, there's lots of
Yes.
bad things, we want to keep it really easy, and the term partner is obviously the number one thing.
Right.
I believe in our mission and goal, is because we can't do it ourselves.
Right.
We're just trying to bring them together and bring them to the right people.
Right.
So that they have that opportunity.
Absolutely. You can, if you have an interest in learning more about the Georgia Doty organization, about volunteering, about joining the advisory board, or having a discussion about a possible collaboration and partnership, you can reach Mr. Doty. How can they reach you, Mr. Doty?
312-282-1375.
Or you can go to the website. It is Georgia Doty Inc.
Inc.
Go to the website, GeorgiaDotyInc.org, and if you've been watching us in other seasons, you can always find me on Facebook, Yolanda Gibbons. I always post after the show, talk about and just highlight some of the discussion, and I am definitely a resource or a go-to to learn more about this organization. We are looking for volunteers. We are looking for partners. We are looking for folks that just want to get involved, and those that just need some help and some guidance.
Yes, and in fact, to add that if those that are interested, we're having a planning meeting April the 27th at Chase Bank at 6700 South Stony Island at 11 o'clock in the conference room. So if anybody is interested in joining this movement, this expansion, we look forward and welcome anyone to come in and join us.
I love that word he just said. It's a movement, because it's so important for us to help ourselves and help others to live healthier lives, and create healthier communities. And unemployment and lack of knowledge and all of those, and nutrition, all of those plays an important role in creating healthier communities.
And all the money in the world isn't important other than your health.
Right. The most important thing is your health. I absolutely agree with that. Jack, we're getting close to wrapping up, what are some final words or something that you would want to share as it relates to this topic and this issue of the health care or lack of in underserved communities?
Well, the good thing is there's lots of providers throughout the area.
Okay.
Knowing who to go to and trying to connect them, and again, getting the educational part. So when we do have these meetings, these events and such, we hope people come out because they do have questions, they don't know who to ask. That's a big part that we can play, is we can be that resource. And then the partnership, that's the huge thing, is any of these healthcare providers that want to help and make an impact in the communities, that's who we need to team up with so that we can be there and have a very simple roll down, if you will, to get them into the system, to get them the help, and to help them with their health.
Right. I love that. I love that he said the resources are there. And this organization is definitely one that could be a key to bringing it, the people, the community, to those providers. So that's so important to know that at least we know the resources are there. We just got to continue to do the job that we're doing and a better job at it of educating and really informing. What are some final words from you, Mr. Doty?
I'm very blessed that we've been invited to the other states and cities to expand. Our work has been noticed, and I appreciate that. I think that some of the things and the volunteers that we've been very blessed with the board of directors and folks and Jack to support us. I've been knowing Jack for the last 10, 15 years.
Okay.
He was with us years ago and came back.
Came back. That's a good thing. When you come back, that means something.
That's a good thing.
But I think that Jack can give us the focus and help with the direction and support to kind of guide us into the right direction for the new next 5-10 years.
Right, which is amazing. I've been working with this amazing organization for about 1.5 years now. It's definitely created its own legacy in itself and continuously going to do that. It is in a great position, has a great board of directors, and of course, has this great founder and CEO over here that is definitely a champion of providing better health care and better resources for our community. Again, my name is Yolanda Gibbons, and I thank you so much for tuning in to the Doty Report on Comprehensive Health. We will be back here next Tuesday at 7:30, so tell somebody and be sure to call in next time. Thank you, and have a great rest of the week.